Hey, welcome back to another episode of Collab with Kiva. Today, we are going to talk about planning for success, especially strategic planning for the second half of the year in what has proven itself to be a topsy-turvy economy. You know, I love to talk all things ops and all things data, and I feel like both of these are very relevant when it comes to mid-year planning. And that's really where we are, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you've been doing planning for quarter one, quarter two, and you're like, hey, I've reviewed my numbers. I'm not where I want to be. Hey, I reviewed my numbers. I'm ahead of where I want it to be. Whatever the situation is, or you're like, girl, I didn't review any numbers because I don't have any, because I didn't map out anything. It doesn't matter. This is your restart, your refresh, your whatever you want to call it for the rest of the year. Because the reality is, like, the first half of the year presented one set of economic challenges. The second half of the year might prove to give us a different set of economic challenges. Whatever the case is, you have control over that destiny when you involve some strategic planning. I'm going to say some because that might freak some of you out. So when we're talking about strategic planning, it's really key. Like, it's so helpful to helping us survive and thrive in any business landscape. We all know, like, throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks is not a plan. Okay, but stepping back from the daily grind, from all the minutia that is everything that is related to running your business, and actually determining for yourself, what course do you want to take? What direction do you want to go? So we're not talking about operationally planning. How are things going to focus on a day-to-day basis? No, strategic planning, a long-term view. When you envision yourself on December 31st, 2023, the end of this year, the last day of the year, what is it that you want to accomplish in your business? Who do you have wanted to serve? In what way did you want to serve them? If you were a service-based business, did you have the type of projects that you were looking for, and did they fulfill you in the way that you wanted them to? Did they bring in the revenue that you wanted them to bring in? So in light of that, truly thinking about the long term, where is it that you see yourself December 31st, that you want to say, I achieved this goal, this goal, this goal, whether that's financial goals, whether that's some other type of goals, whatever it is for you, because that's another thing that's so important, is to understand that mid-year strategic planning is about you. It's about you and your business. It's not about Sally's business. It's not about Jane's business, of course, unless your names are Sally and Jane and you're listening. But it's about you and your business. So where is it that you want to go? What is the path that you want to follow as you move forward? And the AI, Chat GPT, generative AI, so many things have, in some instances, drastically altered the landscape of how we were doing things and have opened up possibilities that I don't even know if we fully have tapped into yet. I was speaking with a client who we're doing a strategic mapping session right now, and her business is a salon. There's literally AI for the salon that helps with appointment bookings, and you feed it the information about your business so that it can actually help you. The chatbot can help you in responding to customers' inquiries. I've read stories where AI is going to be used to help kids learn reading. There's just possibilities upon possibilities. And in light of these possibilities, it creates a shift in the landscape of how we do things, of the tools that we have access to in order to run our businesses, the tools that we have access to in order to serve our clients. So considering all of those things, it's important for us to carve out time to strategically plan what it is that we are going to do in our business between now and the end of the year. Grab hold of that and literally give yourself the time and the space to think, to dream, to vision what it is that you are hoping to, wanting to, would like to accomplish. So obviously with strategic planning, there's lots of ways that you can go about this. There's goal setting. You can have SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, relevant, and time bound. I think key parts of that is really about the time bound. We are talking December 31st. I want you, any goals that you set in this process, they have a deadline of what are you going to accomplish between now and December 31st. They should definitely be specific. I do not want to hear the goals of increase my client base by just increase my client base. No, like I want to increase my client base by 20% by the end of Q4. How am I going to do that? I'm going to use targeted social media campaigns and networking events. That's a goal that you can say is SMART. It's specific. It's also measurable. You can actually calculate 20% more of a client base. It's achievable. It's relevant. It's time bound. End of Q4, December 31st. That's when this is going to happen. So really thinking through what those goals look like, thinking through what it is that you want to do and how you want to accomplish it. I don't, again, the lofty, dreamy things that aren't specific really don't help us move forward. And recently also reading Grow Your Small Business by Donald Miller. And I love that he also takes it a step further and it's like, set up what are the critical actions that you need to take. Okay, maybe it's you and your team and those actions that they need to take. What are the key characteristics that you need to have as it relates to achieving those goals? So these are all things that you need to do and that fold into that process of strategic planning. And it's really important that you think through these things. Again, a lot of times it's giving ourselves space and time in order to do that. The space being not where you do work so that you're not distracted by the work or something else of that sort. Space is really helpful because it allows our brain to actually think about things and also not have the physical constraints around us that might inhibit some of that thinking. So that's why I tell everyone to give yourself time and space. So again, you want to have goals that are truly specific, that are measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Also though, and this goes back to the beginning, whether you had metrics and KPIs that you were tracking for yourself in your business, or if you didn't, now is a time to revisit those that you have set. If you haven't set any, now is the time to set them. It's, what's that? The best time to plant a tree is now. I mean, the best time was 5 years ago. The second best time is now. If you didn't set goals and have metrics and KPIs in January of this year, the second best time to do that is now. So when you have goals and you have metrics and KPIs, it allows you to track, just like we were talking about if things are measurable. That's where that metrics and KPIs come in. They're also vital business signs. We've talked before about leading, lagging indicators and different things of that sort. But if you want to increase your client base by 20%, you can monitor that and what that looks like. So at this mid-year point, I don't know, you've had 2 clients, I'm assuming they're really large ones, and you want to increase that by 50%. So you want to add 1 more client. You can measure that come December 31st that you have increased that. Did you get that 1 more client? Of course you did. So you're able to measure that. So whatever your metrics are, your KPIs, revisit them. Look at the numbers. How are you tracking? If you have numbers set up, where are you at in terms of your revenue goal for this year? 60%, 70%, 95%, 120%? Great, wonderful, terrific, wherever that is. How many clients did you want to serve? How many workshops did you want to lead? How many speaking engagements did you want to have? Whatever it is that you're tracking for your business, not what everybody else is tracking for their business, that's where you focus. You revisit them. Understanding they are not set in stone. I want to say that again. They are not set in stone. These are your goals. Again, what's the saying? Like basic, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So with that being the case, like if you don't have any, no desire to increase your client base or, no number attached to that or whatever, I'm not saying you're going to fail, but I'm just saying you have nothing to work towards. So with that being the case, though, again, if you shoot for the moon and land amongst the stars, you still wind up, in a good place. And that's the same thing with our businesses. If you were looking to increase your client base by 50% and you increased it by 45%, you didn't hit 50, but daggone it, you better celebrate, do a happy dance, and congratulate yourself for actually the 45%. If you did not have anything at all, you may not celebrate. So really looking at that, adjusting your KPIs, for those of you that have them, adjust them. Maybe because of this economy, you see that things are shifting and changing. Clients aren't interested in one particular offer of yours or product of yours, and you might need to shift resources to another one. You may need to adjust those metrics and KPIs. Why? Because of the topsy-turvy economy that we find ourselves in. Yay, we're hiring lots of people. Boo, payroll only, paid this many people. Like there's so many ups and downs that really, it's global. If you look, there's problems everywhere. It's not just contingent upon the US and their economy. We're just so globally interconnected and everyone's having some topsy-turvy economy issues. So with that being the case, though, you may need to adjust your KPIs and your metrics, and that's okay because, again, they're not set in stone. This is about setting a plan in place and realizing that steps along the way to the completion of the plan are still steps in the right direction, and it's still increase in many of our businesses. So if that's the case, revisit those metrics and KPIs. If you don't have any set, now is the time to set them. Whatever they might be, again, for your business, that's going to be contingent upon what your business is. What are your goals for this year? Depending on your family situation, a single mom might have different business goals than a married woman who's an empty nester. Whatever the situation is, again, you want to make it specific to you and your business. So, again, we want to have a mid-year plan. In order to do that, you have to set aside time. You have to carve it out. You have to make it a priority. You want to actually create goals in that strategic planning. If you feel that these aren't things that you're like, Eva, I don't know about all this. I don't do this. I don't plan. I'm fly by the seat of my pants. Well, that's great, but I'm going to staple your seat and pants to the chair so that we can get a plan out so that we know exactly where we're trying to go, which is important. So as you are looking at this mid-year, this time of reflection as you look back, but also like anticipation in terms of what is to come. It's such a beautiful time to take stock of what has taken place and what would you like to take place. Where do you see yourself come December 31st, 2023? What will you have accomplished? Who will you have served? What impact will you have made? These are all things that you get to take the time to think through, to dream through, to really put some meat on the skeletal bones of those thoughts by, again, setting aside time in which to strategically plan to make not only those dreams and visions, like you want to make them a reality. So as we look to close, because this is short and sweet and to the point, I want you to dedicate time to conducting a mid-year review. I want you to identify what's working, what's not working. This helps you not only analyze, but map and navigate the rest of the year. Number 2, be flexible with that strategic plan. You may need to pivot some of your business goals based on the economic landscape, based on the technological landscape. It's a plan. It is not written in stone. Neither are your metrics and KPIs. Regularly, though, monitor them. Adjust your KPIs, adjust your metrics. Ensure that they're still relevant and that they can continue to guide you towards your business objectives. Those things that you put in that plan. So with those things being considered, those are your 3 takeaways that I want you to truly carve out time before the end of this month and actually engage in those activities. And if you feel stuck, definitely feel free to reach out. We can get a strategic mapping session going and get you where you need to be on December 31st. Of this year, accomplishing those goals and kicking butt in the things that you do. So thank you again for tuning into this episode. I really want you to implement those takeaways. Make a strategic plan. I want you to do that. And feel free to ping me on LinkedIn and say, hey girl, I did it. And I'll be like, yay, cheering you on. So whether or not this economy continues to be topsy-turvy, doesn't matter. We can brave it together because success is not a destination. It's a journey. So I will see you on the next episode of Collab with Kiva. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Collab with Kiva. I'm wildly cheering you on as you go forth and execute data and operational efficiencies in your business. If you need additional support, connect with me via my website, the516collaborative.com.